Hello, everyone. We still have people logging in and getting connected, so we'll give a minute or two to get them settled. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Link Center for this shared learning group focused on the topic of health and wellness. I'm going to go over a few housekeeping items while we get started today. The session is being recorded, and the recording and the transcript will be made available on our website. We welcome you to revisit the content yourself and share it with others. Attendees cannot see the names of other attendees, and all attendees are muted. Please use the chat function in Zoom to communicate with other attendees and the host during the webinar. You can use the chat by clicking on chat at the bottom of your screen. And be aware that your name will appear in the chat if you make a comment. And if you'd like, you can change your display name by clicking on those three little dots next to your name and selecting rename. We will have representatives from the Link Center watching the chat and responding throughout the session today. If you'd like to submit a question or a comment privately to the host and panelists, you can do that by clicking on the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. We have live captioning and ASL interpreters present today. We will be spotlighting the active speaker and the ASL interpreter throughout the webinar. If you click on View on your Zoom screen, you can change the way you see the panelists. And if you're having any trouble with your view, please let us know in the Q&A and we'll try to help you out. At this time, I'm going to hand the floor over to Dr. Stacy Nonamaker, who will start today's presentation. Stacy, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Stephanie. Just want to give you a quick visual description. I am a middle-aged white woman with brown wavy hair. I have on a black sweater over a white and black striped shirt today. I'm wearing glasses and I'm in front of a white background with the Link Center logo. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to be with you all for the first in our series of shared learning groups in 2026. And, it's a little ironic that we're kicking off the new year with a topic of health and wellness. But super important when we talk about supporting people with co-occurring conditions. And we're just really glad to have you all here with us today. I'm just going to go through a couple of housekeeping things before we jump into the topic. The first is hopefully all of you who are on today have already found us online on our website. We have a Link Center website. That is the QR code on your screen. So if you haven't checked us out yet, please do that. But we're really, really excited. This is the first time that we're announcing that we have a new website that will be launching this week in 2 days on January 15th. So we're asking that you write down that www.thelinkcenter.org. Visit us starting January 15th at our new home. Lots of resources, lots of information on there, and other ways that you can engage with us here at the Link Center as we all work together to improve mental health access for people with IDD, brain injury, and other cognitive disabilities. So we have quite a few partners that are working together under the Link Center. I am with the National Association of State DD Directors, NASDs, and you'll be meeting some of our other partners today, and they'll introduce themselves as well. But today I wanted to spotlight one of our partners, which is the Ohio State University Nighsonger Center. And the reason why I'm spotlighting them is because they have been doing a lot of work and research on the health, mental health, and wellness of adults with IDD. And they're looking to recruit people for this research. And I just want to play a little video here because you or someone you know may be interested in being part of this research. And I'm telling you, this is really important to the work that we're doing at the Link Center. They're doing things like trying to understand people's experience, those folks who have an intellectual developmental disability and mental health diagnosis. They're helping us understand the prevalence, which, for years and years and years, we've been grappling with what are the numbers here. So please take a moment, watch this video, and please share. We'll put some information in the chat that you can share with folks as well.
How do you feel today?
I feel pretty good.
Flabbergasted.
Like $2,000, my man. Like $2,000.
$2,000?
Yeah.
Happy. Because I've been doing good work today.
How do you stay happy?
Simple answer, 2 words, video games.
By smiling.
Well, when I see Disney movies.
I have like my cat.
I enjoy my life. I'm playing games and I'm working out.
What do you do to make yourself feel better?
Winning.
I cuddle with my cat.
Talk about my feelings.
What makes me feel better is like I meditate because it calms me down, and I like to pamper myself, like using face masks and stuff.
I listen to music. I have like a stress ball, so I play with the stress ball.
I like to eat.
I try to think that I got this whenever I'm faced with a difficult situation.
We want to hear from you. Join our health research project for adults with intellectual disability. You and your support person will get a $100 gift card. We want to hear about your experience with health so doctors can provide better care. Your voice matters.
Make your voice heard in our new research project about health and wellness called Can You Hear Us Now? Brought to you by the Ohio State University Nisandra Center.
Can you hear us now?
This video was produced by the Human Development Center at LSU Health New Orleans with the help of our Paycheck program. Learn more and sign up online at go.o.
So the information on your screen is where you can sign up. And as you can see, there's incentives for support persons as well as individuals to sign up and be part of this research. And coincidentally, as you saw from the video, very much aligns with our topic that we have here today, the importance of health and wellness for folks with co-occurring conditions. So that was a little bit about who we are, and please take a moment. We want to know who's joining us. So take a moment in the chat, say hello, your name, maybe an organization or affiliation that you want to share. We always love to know where you're joining us from. So take a second and put that in the chat. That would be great. So some of you may have joined our shared learning groups before. Let me just take a quick moment to talk about the shared learning groups. We host 4 meetings quarterly. The one today is targeted to direct support professionals. Later today, we'll be doing one for clinical professionals. And tomorrow, we will do a shared learning group for people with lived experience and one for families of people with lived experience. The information in all 4 of these and materials is pretty much the same, but we may tweak the content and the talking points so that it really is relevant for each audience. This presentation and the content that you'll hear today is a collaboration among the Link Center partners, and that includes people with lived experience, researchers, and people who work on policy issues, and some of those folks you'll meet here today. Stephanie also already mentioned that we do record and transcribe the meeting, and materials will be shared after the meeting. So another incentive to get you to go up on the website and check out the Link Center. So some of the goals today is we're going to share what we have been learning and thinking about as it relates to health and wellness, and the importance of that for people with co-occurring conditions. We're going to share some resources with you all, and then we'll take some time to hear from you by sharing a scenario, doing a group exercise, having you react to it, and asking you to share things that you're thinking about and your experiences as well. Few other things just to set the stage before I turn it over to my colleagues. And these are just some ground setting foundational things that we like to share every shared learning group. And they were created by our steering committee. Our steering committee is comprised of 14 people with very unique lived experiences who guide all of the work that we do here at the Link Center. And the first one is we ask you during today's session to take care of yourself. Do what's necessary for your own comfort and care. Sometimes these things are difficult to talk about, and we should be gentle with ourselves and each other. Sometimes this is hard work to do. We listen and share with open minds and kindness. We do not judge or blame others for what they share. We want this to be a safe space for everybody to share the things that they're thinking about when it comes to this topic and experiences that they have related to the topic as well. So this is the first of a couple times that we're going to ask you if you have any resources, trainings, websites, places that you go to get information related to improving health and wellness, this topic that we'll be diving into today. Please drop those in the chat. Here at the Link Center, we are excited to have the resources to elevate any and all resources on our website, as well as identify where some gaps are that we could be using our resources and our collective energy to fill those gaps as well. And before I turn it over, I just when I think about things that impact my emotional, physical, and mental well-being, and I think about this topic, one of the things that really bubbles up for me is it's important for me to have my morning walk. And that really comes to mind as something that positively impacts my emotional, physical, and mental well-being. But when I think about other things besides just my morning walk, I realize that they have three things in common. And the first one is these are things that I usually get to choose to do or not. The second one is that I'm usually motivated to do these things. So, for example, with my morning walk, I'm motivated because I know from experience that when I take my morning walk, it makes me feel better, helps me start my day because it gives me some time to think about my day. And I'm also motivated because my cute dog needs to go out. So, I need to take care of him. The third thing is I'm finding that when I think about the things that positively impact my health and well-being, it's something that I can easily do and it's not hard for me. So as my colleagues today walk through this topic and the content that they have for you today, I want you to think about those three things as a supporter that you can consider. The three things being, did the person choose this? Are they motivated to do it? And can they do it? And thinking about how that's really impactful as you support someone to improve their health and welfare. So without further ado, I get to turn it over to my colleague, Wendy Morris, who is from NASHBID, who's one of our partners here at the Link Center. So thanks so much for joining us, Wendy. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Stacy. And I love the mention of your cute dog. I have an image in my head of what that little dog looks like, even though I've never met him. So again, my name is Wendy Morris. I'm from NASHBID, or the National Association of State Mental Health Program Directors. We are a membership organization that works with commissioners and directors of the mental health system at the state level. I am a late middle-aged white woman. I have on glasses, I have long gray hair, and I'm wearing a black turtleneck today. So we go to the next slide. So, as Stacy has pointed out, today's focus is really going to be on health and wellness. And we all decide what it means to us personally to be healthy and to feel well. There's not a standard definition for all people. We each kind of choose what that means for us. And it's different for everybody. We want to really stress that it's possible to be healthy and to feel well while also having medical conditions or disabilities. That health and wellness are continuums or ranges, or some days we feel better than others. Some days we might feel good. Some days we might just, not feel ourselves. Maybe we are feeling sick or just kind of, just sad, different things. We know that healthy habits, right? The things we do today, like Stacy's morning walk, are going to protect our future health. So what we do today is going to make our tomorrows better for our health. And we also know it is never too late to adopt new healthy habits. So maybe today you'll not only share what you do now, but think about what you could do for yourself in the future or help the people you support to develop or adopt some new healthy habits. But again, this focus is really on individual people. So you and the people you support. Next slide. So on this next slide, we have another chat prompt similar to the one that Stacy just shared. If we go to the next slide, there we are. And this is, what does being healthy and feeling well mean for you? Again, different for every person. So what does that mean for you? Is it that you don't have certain symptoms? Is it that you're feeling energetic or kind of full life? What do those things mean for you? And unfortunately, my computer screen is broken, so I don't know that I'll be able to see the chats. Somebody said, here's one: well rested, feeling more positive, being able to conduct daily functions well, right? Get through the day. What else? Energetic, that's a good one. What else? People got some other ideas? Okay. Well, go ahead, being happy. I love that one, Brenda. Yeah, that's a good one. Please keep putting those in the chat, and let's go ahead to the next slide. So I want to talk just a little bit about, some different kind of theories or ways to think about health. And I already mentioned that wellness is really a continuum, right? All the way from the very best health we could experience, all the way down to, on this slide, it says premature death, right? That you get so sick that you don't live as many years as maybe you could. But there's lots of different ways that we can look at this wellness continuum. If you were to put these words into a Google search, you would find all kinds of different pictures or different ways to explore this. So to think about your own wellness and where you are today, but also to have conversations with the people you support about how they're feeling in a day. There are resources out there where it might be emojis. There might be really happy faces, kind of happy faces, a neutral face, some sad faces. That might be more about emotional health, but you could also use those for physical health. You could use numbers on a scale of 1 to 10. How are you feeling today? Really whatever works for the individual. But the concept here, again, is that it's a continuum, and we're not in just one place, right? We all kind of have what we would call a baseline, the way we feel most days. And then there's days we feel really great, and there's days that we feel maybe we're sick, maybe we've gotten the flu or experience, we broke our leg, right? So there's days when we just aren't feeling well, either emotionally or physically. And so this can vary, but it's good to kind of have an idea, where do I want to be on this continuum? Where am I in now? And if I want to set a goal, where do I want to get to? Next slide. Another way to think about health is kind of about dimensions, or to kind of put it in buckets, right? And so I want to show this short video from SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. There are lots of different ideas about what these buckets should look like and what they include. I chose this one because this is SAMHSA is the federal agency that our organization works with, but lots of folks have put out different types of, there's 10 dimensions, there's 4 dimensions. There's lots of different ways to divide it up, but let's go ahead and watch this short video.
The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, created the Wellness Initiative to help people with mental and/or substance use disorders, and all people, live longer, healthier lives by focusing on the 8 dimensions of wellness that connect all aspects of behavioral health. Improving wellness by taking action on each of these dimensions addresses early mortality from treatable and preventable conditions. Embracing wellness is about life and living and becoming the healthiest you possible. Listen to your feelings, express them to people you trust, and maintain a positive outlook. Make it a point to understand your finances, establish good financial habits, and plan for the future. A sense of belonging and a reliable support system help during difficult times. Make at least one social connection daily. Seek advice from peers or support groups. And create healthy friendships. Enhancing your connection to self, nature, and others brings balance and peace to your life. Take time to discover what values and beliefs are most important to you. Look for satisfaction from things you're passionate about, whether it is through work, school, or volunteering. Reduce your risk of many illnesses by increasing activity levels according to your abilities, getting restful sleep at night, choosing healthy foods, and exploring outdoors to reduce stress and increase energy levels. Be a lifelong learner by expanding your knowledge and finding creative outlets that stimulate your mind and sense of curiosity. Be open to new ideas, insights, and wisdom. A positive environment has a calming effect. Find surroundings that encourage good physical and mental health, and where you also feel safe. At SAMHSA, we envision a future in which people with mental and/or substance use disorders, and all people, pursue optimal health, happiness, recovery, and a full and satisfying life in the community. Wellness is an ongoing pursuit and can be challenging at times, but striving to make small daily improvements is the key to success. For more information and resources about wellness, visit www.samhsa.gov/wellness-initiative.
I just love that video. It covers so much in such a short amount of time. And we can go to the next slide. One thing I do want to say about that video, though, is the website that they reference at the end is no longer on SAMHSA's site. Maybe it'll come back at some point, but right now it's not available, just so you know. But that video is on YouTube and pretty easy to find, and hopefully we'll be able to get that link out to everybody. But I also wanted to share just kind of this picture of these 8 dimensions as well. And they give just a little bit about those emotions that we were just talking about. So you can see at the top, and they're in no particular order. One is not more important than the other. Again, very individual, right? Where we want to focus and where we think we want to improve our wellness. So emotional, right? Again, how we're coping with life and our ability to have good relationships with other people. That the financial, satisfied with your kind of current situation. We have the social, which is having a sense of connectedness and belonging. This can be difficult for the folks you support. People need to be able to connect with other people, not just people that are paid to spend time with them, right? And so while we can have a good connection with the people we serve, we also want to help them to develop relationships with their peers and have good relationships with maybe family or other friends. It's also about having a good support system, and you all are certainly part of that support system for the people you serve. Spiritual is it's about, having that kind of purpose or, kind of the reason to get up in the morning, kind of a meaning. It's not necessarily about religion, but it might be about a higher power. Occupational, this isn't just about work. And that's one thing I really love about the video. They said, it might be about work. It might be about hobbies. It might be about volunteering. It might be about school. So it can mean a lot of things. Physical, about our body, right? Exercise, diet, sleep, all very important. The intellectual, being creative. So again, hobbies or, doing some drawing or those types of things, just finding ways to expand what you know and the skills that you have. So trying new things, super important for our brain to keep trying new things. And then finally, environmental. And I think this is really important for many of us. And this says to find stimulating environments, but we know for some people, they need a calmer environment without too much stimulation, because that can be difficult for some folks, kind of aggravating. So whatever supports the person's well-being. When we get to the resources page at the end, but I do want to bring it up now. There's a one-pager in there called Architecture for Autism, and it's about how to design a space for people with autism. But they talk about some different things like the acoustics or what the sound is like in the room, or having what they call an escape space, which is to make sure a person has a free path to leave the room if they feel overstimulated or need to. That helps people feel safe. Next slide, please. All right, so we went over the wellness continuum and we talked about the dimensions of wellness. This is called a hierarchy of needs. You can see it's a pattern. And this was developed by a man named Abraham Maslow. He was a psychologist in the 1900s, and he was really considered to be a founder of what's called humanistic psychology. But what he's really famous for is this model right here, which really it proposes that humans, that people, that were motivated to fill our basic needs, those things at the bottom of this pyramid, before we can really try to do anything above that. So you can see on the bottom, air. If you don't have air to breathe, there is nothing else on this pyramid that's going to matter, right? All you're going to be able to focus on or think about is to be able to catch your breath or get air. But also you can see food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. Those are all very basic needs that if we aren't able to have those things, it's very difficult to focus on other things. They talk about school children. If kids come to school and they haven't had breakfast, it's hard for them to learn anything because they're just thinking about that rumbly tummy they have, right? And that's true for us as adults as well. Then you can see next up that list comes safety and security. So this is about health. It's about, again, maybe employment, maybe property, but your family, feeling stable. It's about that kind of feeling safe. Am I safe in my environment, right? And am I comfortable here? Then you kind of go up to love and belonging. Again, you can see some of these match those dimensions of wellness. Friendship, having family, having connections. Then it goes up to things more like feeling good about myself and self-confidence, that I feel like other people respect me. And then you get all the way to the top where not a lot of people get, quite frankly. But this place where people are really just focusing on their purpose and their inner potential and, their creativity. Most of us don't spend a lot of time in that space at the top. Unfortunately, too many people have to focus on that bottom part of the pyramid. But when we think about wellness, these are all really important. And when you're trying to help somebody develop goals for wellness and health, first thing we got to do, right, is figure out, are there needs at the bottom of this pyramid being met? Because you can't just start in the middle, right, and think people are going to be able to focus on that. Next slide. So this drawing is from our in-person steering committee that we had in September in DC. And if you're familiar with the Link Center, you know that we have a steering committee of people with lived experience from all across the United States who are just a phenomenal group of people who really help lead the work at the Link Center and are always participating in our shared in our shared learning group. And when we have our meeting, we have a woman, her name is Brittany, and you can see her website there at the bottom, inkybrittany.com. She kind of draws as we're talking. And this is one of the posters that she did while we were meeting when we had our discussion about today's learning group. And I asked our steering committee, what should we talk about? I'm a nurse by training, and I have a kind of a one angle I like to talk about as a nurse, and it's usually focused more on physical and emotional health than other things. And you can see what they came up with without any of the things we just presented, just that cold question was a lot of the same stuff that we saw in those theories, right? So this whole idea that it's not just your physical body, it's your mind, it's your spirit, it's all of you as a person. They talked a lot about how connected the body and the mind are, and that is so true. We know when we are feeling emotionally depressed or anxious, we have physical symptoms, right? We might just not have any energy if we're very depressed, not have an appetite, or maybe we're craving comfort foods. If we're anxious, we might have our heart might be beating really fast. We might have trouble catching our breath. We might sweat. So there's a big physical connection. But then also when we have poor physical health, when we're really sick, it can also make us feel depressed. Or if we get kind of a scary diagnosis, it can cause anxiety. So there's a lot of back and forth. The steering committee talked about self-care and, to encouraging and allow people to do for themselves what they can. This idea of self-determination is so critically important, right? Being sure that we are taking a very individualized approach, a very person-centered approach, and making sure we're talking to the people that we're supporting to understand how do they define health and wellness? What goals might they have to improve that? And then how can you help them work toward that? This idea about the importance of relationships to one's mental and physical health was also a big theme. Just really important to have people who support you and people who like you, love you, that can bring a lot of joy to your life, but also somebody you can lean on in times of need. And then environment. This also came up a lot. Having an environment that helps you to be in your best mental space, so that you're going to be calm, or you're going to feel safe, that you have enough stimulation that you're not bored. Again, very individual. But the biggest message, I think the thing we heard loud and clear again, is this idea that you can be healthy, you can feel well despite having medical conditions and despite having disabilities. That we should never think that because a person has a chronic illness or because a person has any kind of disability that they can't experience health and wellness. They absolutely can. So next page. So the goals of getting healthy and well, why? Why do we care about that? Well, first and foremost, to enable people to live their very best life, right? If you're not feeling healthy and well, it's hard to feel motivated or able to do maybe some of the things that you love. It reduces symptom burden so that we want people to feel better. So folks are more able to fully participate in certain activities, the things that they like, again, to protect that future health and wellness. Reduce the need for crisis care and hospitalization. And again, that's not just mental health, that's physical health as well. If we can take care of ourselves, we're less likely to have to call for an ambulance or to be put in the hospital. And then lastly, not really lastly, people have all kinds of goals or reasons to get more healthy and achieve wellness, but to maintain that ability to live as independently as possible, to be able to do as much self-driven stuff as we can. Next slide. So how do we know if a person's healthy? How do we know if a person feels well? Lots of ways that you can kind of think about that. Again, person-centered. Ask the person, right? How are you feeling? That's the best way to get a determination. But we also know that what health and wellness looks like can vary by developmental stage. Now, I don't just mean age, but certainly age is part of it, right? What a healthy infant looks like and what kind of things you would look for are different than a teenager, are different than an older adult. there are lots of changes in the body. But developmental stage isn't just about how many years old you are. It's because if you have a developmental disability, those things can move at a slower pace, and the expectation will be different. So we just kind of have to know where a person is on that continuum. Then there's objective medical indicators. And what I mean by objective, these are things you can measure. These are things where there's what they call a normal, right? Or they're meant to be a range. So things like your blood pressure or your pulse, we know that there are numbers that we can measure to see if you are in what's considered to be a normal range, or if you have high blood pressure, or if you have low blood pressure. There's lab values, like you might measure your sugar or other your blood, how many white blood cells do you have, just kinds of different things, how much sodium, and then a review of the body systems. And this is something that a medical professional does, right? They'll look at what's your skin, what does that look like? Do you have dry skin? Do you have, or do you have any bruising or tears? They will listen to your lungs. They might touch your belly to see if you have any tenderness. So just the whole body to see, do I have any signs here that maybe there's some illness? And then the subjective physical indicators. And these are things you can't measure because they're different for every person. And the only way you're going to know is by a person's words, or maybe their behaviors, right? Or their nonverbals. So things like physical things like pain. Sometimes we can tell somebody's in pain by, the way they walk, or the noises they make, or their face grimaces. We know, like, are you okay? You look like you're hurting today. Maybe they have a headache, or they've got some muscle pain. But there's some sort of signs that somebody's having physical pain. And then same with emotional indicators of depression. Sometimes you can tell, especially if you know a person well, you seem sad today, right? Or you seem like you're feeling really anxious. But you don't know that unless you ask the person, or the person can tell you in some way. And so again, bottom line, I know I'm a broken record on this point, but ask the person what it means to them, and ask them how they're feeling is the best thing. Next slide. So what do we need to get healthy and well? First, that self-motivation that Stacy talked about. Support from others is super important. Having a basic knowledge base about health and how we achieve. What are healthy foods? What are some exercises that I can do? And health literacy. This is the ability not so much to read, but to understand that information. So we want to be sure that we're offering it in plain language, maybe that we use pictures or other ways to explain it to people. I know I like visuals when my doctor's talking to me to really understand what he's talking to me about. Having access to healthy food, having access to places to exercise. Everybody doesn't have that. Having a healthy environment, feeling safe. Is it quiet enough to sleep well? Is it an environment that limits your triggers? Do you have good air quality? Those types of things. And then financial health. Can you afford healthy food? Are you able to get the medical care that you want? This is not an all-inclusive list, but just some ideas. And with that, has Eric joined?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. All right. If we can go to the next slide, Eric, I will turn it over to you. Eric is a member of our steering committee, and we are so delighted to have him here today.
Okay, my name is Eric Washington. I'm 6'2", lumberjack's beard, African-American, gray shirt, and deep voice. I apologize. I'm kind of under the weather. I had a heck of a week, a heck of a month, but I'm here because the message is very important, and I wouldn't have missed it for the world. So I cut to the chase. I broke my neck in 2006 playing football for the University of Kansas. 10 years later, I ended up homeless in a van while dealing with brain injuries, spinal cord injury, and cancer, kind of all at the same time. So after a while, when we talk about Maslow's hierarchy, me being in a van while also trying to deal with, everyday life, it was very difficult to kind of pick myself up by the bootstraps. And in my opinion, support staff or services or even the family, I think, is probably the most valuable piece in the tripod or this pyramid or this Christmas tree. You know, it's the very most important piece, because without that, the person that's dealing with the illness, they can never become what they're supposed to become. Me living outside, I pretty much became an outside dog. My whole living experience was just changed upside down. You more so was trying to survive and trying not to get into anything rather than trying to progress and move forward in life. I remember the first day that I actually ran across some support, and it was literally by the age of, I want to say it was 2018. And a lady found an email that said, oh, if a person has a brain injury, they kind of act, you know, like this. They go through these things. And they assumed I had a brain injury because just the way I was sporadic. I was kind of all over the place. A person that had the most potential in the world. My microphone wasn't damaged, which I can speak very well, but my processor was. So if you say, hey, what did I say 5 minutes ago? Or why did you do this and you didn't do this? You know, my long-term memory was there. So the further it got away from me, I could remember it. But the closer it was, I couldn't remember it for some mysterious reason. So when it comes down to making slides, reading and speaking at the same time, I don't possess that ability anymore because my right eye doesn't really track and trace the way it's supposed to. My vision went from -1 to -6 almost in 1 year. And I can't really see out of my right eye, but I can see, if that makes any sense. So I met a lady. She said, you know, she was with the brain injury program of Missouri. And she said, you know, I'm here to help. And she described me as probably one of the most beat down humans she had ever seen in her life. Just because I had so much potential, but I didn't believe in myself anymore. You know, that's where the confidence comes in, to where I had no answers. No one was there to pick me up. No one was there to say it's going to be all right. No one was there to say, you know, just give me a hug. I just kind of was just at a point where I was just existing. And it's a quote that says, if you look at a man for what he is, he becomes worse. But if you look at him for what he could be, he becomes what he should be. And she always viewed me as what I'm here doing today, doing this national thing, speaking and giving back. But I still at the same time was like, whatever, lady, I'm living in the car. You know, I'm never going to ascend to that level. So as time went on, I was able to get the help that I needed, but I still was battling the physical wellness or physical injuries, which I had chemotherapy, I had cancer, I had several neck surgeries, I had arm surgery, you know, just to try to get a better quality of life so I wasn't in so much pain so I can make sound decisions. The support services, they were viewing it as, okay, well, this guy's ready to take on the world. And they were just pulling the wagon down the street. And I was just kind of like the dog that sits there that you're pulling and he's just sitting. I wasn't really ready mentally, even though I said certain things that made it seem like I was ready, I wasn't really ready. And that's where a lot of times, you know, being person-centered comes in, but it can be a gift and a curse. Because when a person, especially like a brain injury, some illnesses or disabilities you may have from childhood on, some that you acquire down the road on the train tracks, you literally can say, okay, I remember being great, so I want to hurry up and get back to that so I can get my money, or I can, you know, live a great life. And it doesn't really work like that. So sometimes as a support staff, it may be trying to help us reel it in a positive way and not be negative, you know, not be so negative. Because I know, like, I've never met anyone that was negative, but I've seen situations where people say, well, you can't do that. Let's focus on this. So as time went on, just like, you know, Wendy said, you know, sometimes we have circumstances that kind of snap us, that changes our thought process very quickly. When I had cancer, it was well, I still have cancer now, it's multiple myeloma, but I had a bone marrow transplant in 2020, 2021 in the middle of COVID. My mom came down to be with me because someone had to take care of me after COVID. I left the hospital with COVID, gave my mother COVID. My mom passed away in the house where I was. So the support staff was so out of touch that they didn't understand that I couldn't stay in the house anymore. That they said, well, we can help you clean up the house if that's all that's needed. I said, no, you don't understand. This person was everything to me. That's the last piece of anything that resembles anything normal in my life. I just can't be here anymore. And I think I can get past this. I just can't be here. But they were adamant that there was nowhere else to go at that particular moment. And I had to sit there until the duration of my lease. Those are things to where I could have made a left turn and drove the car off the cliff. I could have attacked someone. I could have did those things, but I kind of kept it focused to where she wouldn't want me to go through those type of things. She wouldn't want me to do those type of things. But that moment of where you reach self-actualization or you reach the top of Maslow's hierarchy, that was my moment. Because at the end of the day, it said, my mother did all that to sacrifice to get me to the next level. And then at the same time, the transplant relapsed 1 week after she passed away. And I was told I had 6 months to live. So my whole focus was on things like this. I'm not focused no more on what I can't do. I'm focusing on what I can do. I focus now on I've accepted the things that I can't correct. I accepted the things that I've lost. I've mourned over those things and I'm past it. Now it's time for me to give back these messages to people that are here for a reason. And in that 6 months, I've been granted 6 years. I feel like that's the gift that I gave God. You can't give him money, you can't give him time, but what I can give is make this place a better than before I got here. So that's why I was granted more time. So that's why I feel like the support staff, period, whether it's a family member or the people that get paid to do it, they're the most valuable pieces in this puzzle because they're the reason why I got back on the horse. They're the reason why they were my biggest cheerleaders. Of, hey, it's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. Or we're going to figure it out. And I believed in them. And then now I've resurrected my life and I'm changing other people's lives. So that's my story. That's my message that I want to give. And just ask a person more than once. Don't just go with the first, are you okay? Yes. All right, well, next topic, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a hell of a liar. And people ask me a lot, are you okay? And I'm not always well, but I have a good poker face and I can reel it in. So sometimes you need to pull a person aside and say, seriously, we can figure this out. I got your back, and that's enough. So I want to thank you all for, doing what you guys do, and I appreciate the time.
All right. Thank you so much, Eric. That was phenomenal. Phenomenal. You can see here we have kind of just a little word cloud, they call it, just with all kinds of different elements of health and all the different things that it means to people. Again, there are lots of these on the internet. If you just Google word cloud of health, word cloud of mental health, physical health, all different words, it'll give you kind of a picture like this. We go to the next slide. I want to, before we go any further, just kind of summarize some of the really, I think, important points that I heard Eric said. One, I think he said it over and over again, is how important it is to have somebody in your life who supports you. That can be support staff, it can be family or friends, but to have somebody there to help lift you up. He talked about making progress, moving forward, that people need a cheerleader, somebody to help them. He said it's important to believe in yourself, that others can help pick you up, but you need to be able to believe in yourself. I loved when he gave us that quote about, you don't look at a man for what he is, but what he could be. And having that own ability to kind of reflect on yourself, not what am I right now, but what can I be in the future? And then this whole idea about don't hurry, don't rush. Everybody kind of has to take things at their own time, in their own pace. And then he used the word puzzle a couple times. And I love that too, because health and wellness is a lot of little pieces, right? And when you can put several of those together, that's when you're going to see some improvement in health and wellness. So thank you so much for that, Eric. We love to hear from our steering committee. So next we're just gonna, I want to show another short video. This is Perry, and Perry's gonna talk about how important it is to ask the right questions to get the support you need. So let's go ahead and watch. This is about a 5-minute video.
And then, like, sometimes I feel like because of my communication challenges, I don't always communicate like the severity of like what it is I'm going through, because like lots of different reasons, because like they don't ask the right questions too. Like 2 months ago, I went to my medicine provider and I thought, oh, I think I need my medicine adjusted again. He kept everything the same and didn't have me see him for 3 months. And I think part of it was the questions he asked and the way I answered them. Like, he asked, am I suicidal? And I asked if he meant right now or just in general. I didn't phrase it like, do you mean right this second? I mean, no, I said, do you mean right now? And he said, yes. And then I said, oh, I'm having some passive ideation, like I wish I were dead and stuff like that, but nothing like active, like I want to kill myself right this second. And then he seemed to take that as like improvement, but like, which makes sense, but like I had been actively suicidal like multiple times throughout the month or 2 months that I hadn't seen him. And like, I don't remember if this was before or after that appointment, but like even one of those times I had to go to like crisis counseling because I was having like thoughts about like going to a pawn shop and buying a gun to like use on myself. And yeah, crisis counseling and all that. Like, I feel like the question he was trying to ask is how suicidal have you been like since your last appointment? But he didn't say that, so I didn't answer that question because I didn't think that's what he was asking. I thought he was asking about right this second, how am I feeling like sitting down in a chair? And I feel like he might have done more with my meds if I had like communicated better. If the questions he asked were more like specific, like maybe like how suicidal have you been since the last time I've met? And were there any specific incidents that stuck out to you? And like, I've never been denied any type of treatment, but it feels like when we can't communicate with each other very well, like even if I'm not denied treatment, it's not like as effective as it could have been. Like a lot of times I'll get asked to rate things on a scale of 1 to 10, and I don't even know what a 10 it looks like or what a 1 looks like, and it's like, and I usually never go past like, even when I'm in the hospital, I don't usually go past like a 7 because I think, or an 8 because I think, oh, a 10 means I'm like literally about to kill myself. And then a 1 means like basically nothing, and I think, oh, I'm not literally about to kill myself right this second, so I can't be at a 10. And I think that's kind of messes with my treatment too, but like when I'm in that like crisis state, I can't think to ask, oh, what do you mean by 1 and what do you mean by 10? And like that's not a skill I can access. So it really does make it hard to get the right support when you can't always even accurately identify like my level of distress like how badly I'm doing. Like, for example, my case manager contacted me. Like, this was months and months ago at this point, but like, just asking, "Am I okay?" And I said yes, because I was like, I guess I'm okay. I'm not like actively in crisis right now, so I guess I'm okay. But then my like the speech pathologist that runs my social skills group, like, she asked me, did you think, oh, I'm not in the hospital, so you thought, oh, that meant I'm okay? And I'm like, oh, definitely, yes. And then she told me she thought this lady might have been asking, do you need help with anything? And that's a completely different answer. And what was frustrating with this lady, it was an IDD specific case manager, so she should have known better. But just communicating with providers, even with my device, has been a huge barrier to care. And yeah, I wanted to talk about it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I just want to comment on a couple things that you heard Perry say. He talked about a scale, right? And I talked about that wellness continuum at the beginning. And to Perry's point, scales are difficult. I know when he talked about a 1 to 10, when I'm asked to rate my pain on a pain scale, it's very difficult because I know what it means to me and how I've answered that question in the past, but maybe I'm talking to a new provider. So a great idea is to say, last time I asked you, right, you said you were 5. Are you feeling better or worse than the last time we talked about this scale? Would be one example. And whatever, whether it's the one I shared, it's numbers or it's emojis. If you can say, this is what you told me last time, and that helps somebody say, okay, so do I feel better or worse than the last time we talked? I also loved how he said, asking a question, are you okay, is very different than asking somebody if they need anything. So we want to be intentional in our communication and patient and give folks a time to answer and not only answer, but to ask us clarifying questions. I'm not sure what you meant by that. So many important points. So we're not going to be able to watch John's video. Oh, this time, right. So let's just go on to the resource page, I think. But hopefully that'll be available on our website soon. I wanted to go over a few resources. We'll be able to get these out to you. This first one, Architecture for Autism, I already talked about. Is it just a little one-pager about how to create spaces or think about how you make an environment that's going to work for an individual? The next one, this check-in, this is from the Tennessee Council on DD, and I think it's really great. It's just a couple pages, but it has kind of a checklist where you can ask somebody about their independence, mental health, physical health, things like food, exercise, stress, communication, but it's just checklists. So you just kind of get a touch point where a person is. The next one, some of these practical tips, they talk about how to support somebody during a medical appointment, where you might help, right? When you are asking this person I'm supporting if they're okay, are you asking if they need anything, right? Or where were they on the scale? Like when last time you asked a scale, where did they fall? So to help them support them there, help support people with diet, exercise, grocery list. And then next is a video. This video is pretty long. It's over an hour, and it goes into a lot of detail. So if you want to watch it, please just know it'll take you a little bit of time, or you could watch it in bits and pieces. The next one, Supporting the Whole Person. This is a shared learning group that we did in 2024, and it also gives some tips on supporting people's physical and mental health. It talks about a whole lot of other things, but that's a big part of it. And then the wellness and trauma-informed support resources, all kinds of stuff there. So just check it out, look around, see if there's anything you might like. And then this last thing on developing emotional regulation and coping skills, there's a link here. I'm not sure if it's up on the site right now, but I'm sure it will be very soon as we transition to our new one. So there's a link here that hopefully you'll be able to get to. And that's the one we did last April. So just lots of really great stuff that we hope you'll take a look at. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Max and Zadia to go over our group exercise. Thank you all.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Zeta Ricker. I'm with the National Association of State Head Injury Administrators, one of the partners of the Link Center, and we're going to move on to a group exercise. Max, are you there and able to introduce yourself? Okay, maybe not. So I'll kick things off, but Max may also join me in a minute to help to lead this exercise. I'm going to first just talk through some kind of background on what we typically do with these group exercises, and then we'll go to the prompts. So typically we present a scenario that talks about health and wellness. And what we hope that you all will do is think about the discussion that we've had so far today and the scenario and provide some feedback on the questions. There are certainly no wrong answers and ideas because we believe you all are also the experts of your own experiences, and we want to hear from you. The Link Center wants to know what you are thinking so we can elevate things that you bring up that we haven't thought about, or so that we can take action on some things. So if you would like to participate, you can raise your hand to come off mute if you want, or you can write your thoughts in the chat and we'll try and read as many of the comments in the chat as we can. Or if you would rather not participate now, but you have thoughts, you can email us and we will take that information. Or we can, if we get the email during this time, read that out loud as well. Just a reminder before we move on, if you need to step away or take a minute to regulate and calm, please do so. And I see, Max, you came off camera. Do you want to introduce yourself before we move on to the question?
Yes, my name is Max, and I'm Outreach Director for Green Mountain Self Advocates. Also, I'm doing facilitating this exercise as well. So, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, I think we can go to the next slide. Max, do you want to read the scenario?
Yes. So here we go. And again, as noted, there's no right or wrong answer. And if you want to, raise your hand, come off mute on camera, feel free to do so. And just again, if you need to step away, take a minute to regulate and calm yourself, please do. And, just, listen to the scenario and just give your best answer to what you think should happen. So here we go. So a year ago, Arlene had a full-time job doing data entry for her uncle's construction company. She moved out of her family home into an apartment with a roommate. Unfortunately, 2 months ago, her uncle's company went bankrupt and Arlene lost her job. She hasn't been able to find another job and may need to move back home. Arlene is behind in her bills and hasn't left her apartment much because she is feeling depressed and has ongoing headaches and stomach issues. She hasn't been in touch with any of the other employees from the construction company since losing her job. How can you support Arlene to create balance in her life and feel as healthy and well as possible?
We would love your thoughts. Feel free to put comments in the chat or come off mute. Gonna give
No right or wrong answer, just your best that you can come up with. Okay, so I got a few. I got Valerie Wood saying to everyone, I would encourage her to reach out and make some personal social connections to her former coworkers. They probably feel similar to her. Okay, that's good. Marlene Leonard said making sure her basic needs are taken care of would be my first step. Holly Jones says start by asking her what she would like to do first. Debbie Wilson's answer is ask her if she wants to talk to someone about it, a professional or peer, etc. Offer a supportive ear. Ask if she wants help looking for another job. Ask her what support she wants from me. Jamie Harville says you can help Arlene look for another job. Also encourage her to talk to her other coworkers to see how they are feeling as well. Tony Staple says lead with accurate empathic listening to first help her feel understood, then see what her thoughts are on the matter, which may help guide the thing she feels is most pressing in her life. Robert Diaz is the next person. Validate her situation and help her identify supports for her most immediate needs. Connect her with job supports. Help her find a new position using the skills she has obtained. And yeah, thank you, Tony. Empathetic. And don't worry if you spell words wrong. Sometimes when you have to type fast, that's what happens. But thanks. So I understand, Tony. Encourage. Okay. Rosalie Johnson says, and I think I have your name right. Encourage her to take part in joyful activities with family and friends to return balance to her life. There's one from Jackie G that says, ask her when is the last time she has seen medical care and support her on her needs. Valerie Gibson says, encourage her to talk to someone or her doctor. Anything else? Okay. Brooke Matthews says, my first step would be to meet with Arlene and start to build report with her. Report with her. Providing a safe space for her, ask her how she's doing and give support. I think that's what it is. Support and valuation. Connect her with additional supports with her consent, like employment and mental health. Mostly provide support, encourage her to reach out to her previous coworkers and potential previous jobs and be the safe space for her to express herself. Let's see. Sadrina Folk says, be a moral support, an ear to listen, take her out on an out to get her mind off of things. Diana Taylor says, encourage her to reach out to the other employees and offer help with getting a new job. Brooke Matthews says relationships. Jackie Chi says, write a priority list, see how her family relationships are going.
These are all great. I love the many ways that you guys have talked about really being person-centered, like Wendy mentioned, and asking what needs that they have, helping them to determine what their goals and needs are. See that as a common theme in a lot of the responses.
Anything else? Luz Morales says, advise her to get online and start looking for another job since she's home and she can use that time to get her mind right while trying to get her financial right. Anybody else have any thoughts? Again, feel free to take yourself off mute if you really want to say what it is you want to say without typing it in the chat. Unless someone has something that they were eager to say, I am beginning to get the impression that I think people have shared what they could think of, and they may. Oh, here we go. Jennifer Contreras says, I would encourage in a trauma informed motivational interview with her to allow her to open up while sharing her goals, fears, strengths, and so forth. Cool.
These are so many wonderful thoughts and appreciate everyone's participation. While we wrap up, we'll maybe give it one more minute in case folks have anything else that they're typing, but I think we got a lot of wonderful feedback.
All right. Jackie Chi says, support around talking to her remote.
Thank you all so much for your participation. And I think we can.
Roommate. That's what she meant. Correct on the word roommate. Modestine Harden says, help her find another job. I'll just reread Jackie G's support around talking to her roommate.
Yeah, this was great.
All right.
Okay, I think with that, we can move on to our concluding remarks. And I think I'm turning it over to Jean to kick things, close things out for us.
Oh, one more just popped in. Diana Taylor also expressed that she should reach out to her uncle. Also, he is probably depressed as well. Oh, that's good. All right. Thank you, Diane Taylor. You had the last word there. All right. On that note, Jean Farr, take it away.
Alrighty, thank you so much. I'm Jean Farr. I am an older woman with short brown hair, glasses, a gray turtleneck, and a black vest. And wow, I am so inspired by today's session. I'm so grateful to all of you who participated. We all learned so much from each other. And I just wanted to note a few things before we close today. Please continue to add to the chat. We want to know what your go-to resources are. Anything that you find helpful in terms of training, website, wherever you get information and supports. Everything you share with us helps to enrich what we do, inform us, and give us the opportunity to share all of your information. We are going to now see a slide of the schedule of upcoming shared learning groups. I think we're going to see that here in a moment. As that is coming up, I wanted to mention that you can find recordings and transcripts and materials from past events on the Link Center website, our new and fabulous website. You can find and register for upcoming shared learning groups on the website as well. And the next topic will be communication in clinical settings, and that will be in April. Let's see. Stephanie, could you advance the slide deck?
Jean, it's on the shared learning groups right now.
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay, I can't see it, so that's good to know. Thank you very much. So again, as you can see, the communication in clinical settings is in April, so be sure to join us for that. And then the website slide, you can visit the Link Center website at any time. The address and link are here on the screen, and we'll drop it into the chat as well. And you can always email the Link Center if you have any questions or suggestions on anything that we have talked about. And then there's the evaluation that we'd love for you to complete. So please just take a moment to do this. It's super quick, and your evaluation of our time together gives us incredibly important and rich information. So on the screen is the QR code that you can scan with your phone. And also in the link, you'll see in the link is in the chat as well. And it will pop up when we close today, and will be sent out to everybody in an email in case you don't really want to do it right now. But again, your feedback is incredibly important and helps us make improvements and adjustments for future webinars and the products that we develop. And very importantly, I want to thank all of you so much. And thank you everybody for your participation, your contributions. A very special thank you to Wendy Morris and Eric Washington. And we'd like to thank our steering committee, as always, for sharing their thoughts and experiences that are just invaluable to these shared learning groups. Thank you also to the ACL and to all the partners contributing to the preparation and the content and the facilitation of this meeting today. Again, we thank all of you so very much and wish you a wonderful afternoon. Thanks, everybody.